The views and opinions on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of ESPN Tucson 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, or the Arizona Lotus Corporation.
Welcome to Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson.
Justin Spears, I like that.
With Justin Spears and Ali Farhang on 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, ESPN Tucson. Brought to you by Tucson Federal Credit Union, the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, and Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
I want to be entertaining, but I'm not stupid enough to compare myself to Ali.
Welcome back to the Arizona Basketball Preview Special right here on ESPN Tucson and the Spears and Ali podcast and the Spears and Ali YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and comment today. Got my guy, Ali Farhang, and then we've got our very special guest to kick off the top of the 8 o'clock hour, Arizona head ball coach Tommy Lloyd. Coach, good morning to you. How's it going?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. And Justin, I really do appreciate you dressing up for the occasion. I know for those on the radio don't get to see you like in a sport coat and collared shirt. Like, I'm a little nervous, but like let's see where this goes.
That's a deep search in the closet to find that jacket and a collared shirt, Coach.
I know I'm not there in person. I definitely can see some dust on the shoulders from here.
Exactly.
Definitely wearing basketball shorts underneath too.
Good for you.
But Tommy, thank you again for joining us for the Arizona Basketball Preview Special. I know it's a busy time of year for you, and you guys are getting down to it, man. 2 exhibition games in the books. You guys got a big one coming up here against Florida. Just tell us about your overall thoughts on the team and how you feeling about your club going into this big one against Florida on Monday.
Well, first off, I'm excited. I think that's easy to say. Have a ton of gratitude. Obviously, you guys know what Arizona basketball and the community of Tucson means to me personally. So I'm excited to start the journey, because I know we have a lot of fans that are really excited about this. Our staff's put a lot of work into this. The players have put a lot of work into this, and we're about to engage on a real challenging journey. I mean, there's no other way to put it. We know there's going to be ups and downs, but we're excited. We're kind of locked into that process right now of seeing what we got as a team. I like a lot of the pieces. I like how they fit together. Now we got to go do it. You get to this point of the deal where, we're done talking, and talk is cheap, and let's go see how we perform.
Tommy, since the day you stepped on campus, I think you've been really good about kind of bringing along highly heralded players slowly and not putting too much on their shoulders to start. This year, while you got a lot of veteran leaders like Jaden Bradley, Toby Awaka, Mo Krivas, you got a lot of high heralded guys that we're probably going to have to depend on a little bit more than you have in the past. How do you adjust as a coach and a leader of these guys when you got to maybe put a little bit more on 18-year-old kids than you ever have in the past?
Well, I think the first thing, you have to meet them where they're at. And just because, they're heralded or they have what looks to be a lot of potential, doesn't mean you need to get impatient with them. Ultimately, you're a team builder and a developer of talent, and including that development of talent is helping them with character and all those things that go into being a good performer. So for me, I honestly haven't really done anything different. I like our players to have a little space and room to kind of grow on their own, as opposed to maybe, putting, these really heavy burdens on their shoulders. Because to me, when they're ready to meet the expectation, they're going to meet it. And so why do I need to maybe impede that process? Of course we're helping them and we're trying to get them as good as we can, but maybe, being unrealistic sometimes could be a detriment. So I just try to meet them where they're at and keep it pretty simple.
It's a very interesting transition because last year you had Caleb Love, who's this veteran player, played a lot of years of college basketball, and now your 2 guard is going to be a freshman in Braden Burries. What do you like about his skill set, and just kind of what are your overall expectations for a player like that going into year 1 in the program?
Well, Braden's he's a very good player, and he's got a really sound game and a sound approach. I'm sure. I mean, one of the most exciting things about him is how much of an opportunity he has to grow over the course of this season. So, I think the player we're going to see in early November is not going to be the player we're going to have in January. And that's a great thing. But that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if he came out this coming Monday and played really well. He's fully capable of doing that. And there's nothing that I've observed that shows me that he's not ready for this moment and not ready to be one of the best players on the court in this moment.
Tommy, the schedule, even the exhibition games, challenging, right? Playing against a team like St. Mary's, and then you have such a brutal non-conference schedule, and then you're playing in what I think is the best conference in college basketball. This stretch between now and March, how do you think that's going to get your freshmen and get your group battle tested for the postseason?
Well, I guess simple terms, buckle up. It's going to be a ride, and it's going to be an adventure, and we're excited for that, and I think we're built for that. But we're not going to put too much onus on one single result. Obviously, we experienced that last year a little bit where we maybe got off to a slower start than we would have hoped, and looking back at it, there's reasons for that. But we were able to kind of right the ship and play really well down the stretch of the season. And, we were really competitive, and, if you want to call it the best conference in the country or one of the two best conferences, that's easy to say. And, got to the tournament, we were able to win some games. Now we want to, see if we can be more consistent over the course of the season and hopefully have our team prepared in March to give ourselves the best opportunity to stay in that tournament as long as we can.
Tommy, as a coach, you've created a culture, even from your days in Gonzaga, where, you see guys like Ronnie Turioff and Hachimura with the Lakers, last second win last night, Austin Reeves, stud.
Hell yeah.
But, you've got this relationship with players where it's a real bond, it's real genuine, and you've developed that at Arizona. What is the secret to your success of building such a strong culture within the basketball program?
Well, for me, I feel like I'm better and I can maybe push people more when I have a relationship with them. And there's just different leadership styles. And for me, I'm more comfortable when I have a relationship. That doesn't mean we're best friends or maybe we're hanging out at night. We're at different stages of our life. I'm a grandparent, for goodness sakes. But I just think that, and I've really always valued that relationship with the guys. It's one of the things I enjoy the most. I don't do this for notoriety or attention or accolades. You do it because you love helping people and you love the challenge of a really hard job. And you love being a part of something bigger than yourself. So for me, I want to value those relationships that I have with our players, and I want to help them because those are meaningful. And I think they're meaningful for me, but I also, I think that they're meaningful for the player. That these players are on these crazy journeys in life, and you end up being an elite young basketball player. Oh, all you have to do is, go on ESPN.com or whatever, and to see, what some of these salaries are. Imagine what's going through these kids' minds and these families' minds, and to be 18, 19 years old and trying to go down that journey. So I just want to be a part of the process and help them.
Tommy, how is it like, having guys like Matt King, president of basketball operations, and, having that support staff that can, really, help Arizona basketball and give you, the resources that you need to be one of the premier programs?
Well, for sure. You need a team, and obviously we have a team behind the scenes that helps me every single day, and I'm really thankful for those guys. And Matt does a great job. It's a new job. Like, no one really knows what these jobs are supposed to look like or entail. So we're all kind of trying to figure it out, on the fly a little bit, and he's done a great job, keeping his eye on our program and kind of how we fit into, the grand scheme of things in this big thing called college basketball, and to make sure that, we are being resourced properly. And our administration, has done a good job helping us get there, because it's not easy. These are real challenges, and I know it's maybe, from the outside looking in, people fully don't understand what's going on, but to have a program like Arizona basketball operating at a high level takes a lot of components working together. And I'm thankful, that we do have, good synergy in helping us, get the resources and just the framework we need for us to be a successful program.
Coach, you really, you've already started, obviously, but we're at the starting point of the season, the journey that is the 2025-26 Arizona men's basketball team. Is there, whether it's rotations, playing time, determining the roles of the guys, is there still tinkering going on? And is there a part in the season where it's like, okay, this is what we've put together. This is what the machine's going to look like. Let's roll.
I mean, I think eventually you'll land, at that point. But right now, there's still, a little bit of figuring it out. I think it's important, as a coach, you can have an idea of maybe what you think it should look like or what will look like or what gives you the best chance to be successful. But I also think you need to leave room and space for adjustments. And how it'd be tough if you were a player and let's say you really wanted to start and the coach doesn't start you for whatever reason. He makes a choice to not start you. I mean, to have that be like an ultimate final decision, early in the season, I don't think that's fair. I think, you have to, the players have to understand that things can change. And if performance dictates or the team needs to make an adjustment, that coach is willing to make adjustments. I mean, I think that to me, it's only fair to the players and only fair to the program. So yeah, I mean, I'm getting a general idea of what I think it could be, but I'm also going to keep my eyes wide open and be very observant and see if we need to make any adjustments, as we go on this journey.
I'm really excited to see how this front court develops over the course of the season. I'm really excited to see Mo Krivas now being healthy in his third season in the program. Where's he at right now, and what's been the biggest part of his development since coming back from that injury last year?
Well, I mean, Mo's in a good spot. I mean, I think he's, he's fully healthy, which is the most important thing. He's got a lot of practice under his belt, the last, 4 or 5 months, since he's been cleared. So he's ready. He's ready for this opportunity. But I also, for me, I'm going to give him room. I'm going to give him room because I know there's improvements that need to be made that may not kind of show themselves, until we get under the lights and get in a few more, heavyweight battles. So, I'm confident he can be a dominant player for us. But again, I want to kind of let him get out there and kind of figure that out on his own, a little bit, because if he can figure it out on his own and own it, then I think we're going to have a really, really confident, imposing, big guy that's going to, do damage in college basketball.
Tommy, the best teams I've coached, we always had a lot of leadership from inside the locker room, not just hearing the coach's voice all the time. From the outside looking in, it seems like Jaden Bradley has really stepped into that role of a leader of this team and a guy that can hold guys accountable without always hearing it from the coaches. Am I got the right perception of what's happening?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no doubt, you need, a leader, you need a leadership collective, and coaches are part of that. And obviously players are a huge part of that. So, Jaden is a veteran. He's somebody that everyone on our team respects. And they respect him just because of the way he carries himself on a day-to-day basis. JB's not, a guy that's, really drawn a lot of attention to himself. He's not the loudest guy in the room, but he's super accountable. And so I think our guys respect that. And he's been great with these young players of bringing them along and making sure that they're confident and ready to perform, on the big stage. So I'm excited about him and his leadership and have a lot of trust in JB.
Talking with Arizona head basketball coach Tommy Lloyd right here on ESPN Tucson. So Tommy, just looking at some of your international prospects, Ivan Karchenkov, I think it's maybe a fair comparison to Pelle Larsson. Is that a fair comparison? Do you see any similarities to his game, and what do you think he's going to add to your team?
Well, I mean, I don't think we have to compare him to anybody, but if you want to, I mean, I think they're gonna, probably, play, the same position and maybe some similar role. Ivan is a very experienced player. He's played at a high level. He's been coached at a high level. He's played with really good teammates. He's played a role on good teams, and some days that role's included not playing. So he's played a high level of basketball for a young player. I'm also. I keep giving this theme. I'm going to give him a little space and room too. I think he's ready to perform, but I don't want to, put it all on him on game one, playing at T-Mobile on national TV, I mean, will he be nervous? Maybe. I don't know. Could he come out and score 17 points? Yeah, he could. So I kind of want to let that happen. I want to let him and kind of figure out where he's at in those moments, and then kind of read and react accordingly. But there's no doubt in my mind that like him and Dwayne, are going to be important players for this team this season.
I don't want to break news, Tommy, but I got a lot of people that talk to me, tell me things that are happening, and I know you've been rapping with Mixmaster Mike. Is he from the Beastie Boys? He's your buddy. Is there any truth to the rumor that you're taking on a second job as T-Loke Tommy and DJing at the Rock?
T-Loke Tommy, wow, I didn't know that one. I'm working on some residencies. I got a lot of time on my hands. And I think I'm, in honor of Justin Spears, I'm gonna do my set in a sport coat and a collared shirt. That's gonna be the vibe I'm gonna put out there. But no, there's definitely that's never gonna happen. Let's just put that out there. I mean, is it cool to call Mixmaster Mike a friend? For sure. He's a great dude. You'll probably see him in some good seats at our game in Vegas. I know he's fired up for that. He called me a couple of days ago to check on the team. But Ollie, what it is what I think is really cool, and I'll say this, like about a guy like Mixmaster Mike. I know you're a hip hop aficionado, okay, more than me, okay, but that guy can like walk through an airport and like no one will recognize him. But like if you stopped any one of them and like played him a beat and that's one of his beats, they probably be like, oh my God, I love that song. Yeah. And like I think that's so cool. And I talked to him about that, like, where he's done an art that literally has impacted numerous, millions of lives, and how cool and powerful that'd be. But then he can just walk amongst us as like a normal person, and so I think that's really cool. And when you do get to meet him, his energy is really cool. He's a really good guy, just a really cool normal person who's got an amazing story. Who obviously he's really worked at his talent, but then he manifested a lot of this too. Like he manifested his way to the Beastie Boys. Like he called them and like if you've ever heard that song. 3 MCs and 1 DJ. There's a voicemail at the start of that. That's real.
Oh,
that's
wow.
A real voicemail he sent to Adam Yauk and was like, hey, I'm working on some stuff here. And then they call this one the tweak scratch or whatever. So really cool. I mean, I think that's really cool to and we could talk about that stuff because that's more exciting for me right now, on your show to talk about that stuff than, give you another dry interview about our basketball team. But yeah, let's proceed. We'll get back to basketball.
Yeah, we've killed it. And, a lot of coaches are like, I don't want distractions. It's all basketball. But whether it's, LeBron James now associated with the program through his son, Bryce, Shaquille O'Neal coming, Mark Weistrack, Mixmaster Mike, you embrace that. And it seems to add a level of excitement around the program and make the program better. Is that
I think you're exactly right. Like our program is at its best, and it's been put in place to serve the community. When we're serving the community, that's when we're creating the most value. And to me, that's what everyone talks dollars, everyone talks cents, all this stuff, but I talk feelings. Like, how do people feel when Arizona basketball plays? How do they feel when we do a red blue game and Gronkowski is participating in it? I think that stuff's so cool, and those feelings, they matter. They matter. I mean, we're in the entertainment business, and people have a lot of things going on in their lives, and some people have tough lives. And if we can provide, some levity and some fun and some excitement for the community, I'm all for it. Now, I'm not going to be, leading the 3-ring circus, you know what I mean? In a sport coat and a collared shirt. I'm going to be staying in my lane and participating in coaching my team to the best of my ability. But I definitely don't mind it when there's a lot of excitement and attention around the program.
See, Justin, like Andrew's been telling you for 5 years, feelings matter.
Feelings matter, 100%.
Yeah.
It is Arizona head basketball coach Tommy Lloyd joining Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson and the Spears and Ali podcast and YouTube channel. Arizona men's basketball getting ready to take on the Florida Gators coming up here on Monday in Las Vegas. Tommy, thank you for your time. We appreciate it, and best of luck to you and the Wildcats this season.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Tommy,
You too.
for an exciting and non-dry interview.
Yes, sir.
That was, yeah, well, that was good. You guys are the best. You make it easy, so thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Tommy.